Sunt câțiva ani de când Indonezia începe să-și redobândească statutul de putere zonală în Asia de Sud-Est. Are o viziune proprie, dar a făcut un pas mai mare de atât. În contextul în care Statele Unite și China își prezintă propriile idei privind viitorul securității și al economiilor asiatice, indonezienii au cerut statelor din Asociația pentru Națiunile din Sud-Estul Asiei, adică ASEAN, să vină cu planuri comune. Ambasadorul Muhammad Azet ne dă detalii despre rolul pe care vrea să și-l asume Indonezia în regiune. Sunt Cristina Cileacu, începe Pașaport Diplomatic. Ambassador of Indonesia, Muhammad Azet, welcome to the Diplomatic Passport Program.
Thank you very much and bună ziua.
Indonezia are capacitate proprie să-și producă vaccinuri anti-COVID-19, dar este și furnizor de materie primă pentru vaccinurile produse în China. Din cei peste 280 de milioane de cetățeni ai arhipelagului indonezian, 181 de milioane ar trebui să fie deja imunizați până la finalul anului, iar lucrurile se mișcă cu viteză. Turismul este a treia cea mai mare industrie a țării și pentru că multă lume depinde de ea, se discută intens despre cum se vor redeschide granițele pentru turiști.
There are over 17,500 islands that make together the Indonesian archipelago, and although there are most of them are not inhabited, those who are inhabited, the people there live mostly from tourism, or main of the resources is represented by the tourists. How do they live now, considering the situation with the pandemic, and what solutions did your government found in order to help them?
Pandemic or COVID-19 spreading out, all over the world. We, did some health standards in our country, done by the government, because we have also, follow, the standards of WHO. So we, import a lot of something like the vaccine now. But I mean, last year we also, import a lot of the PCR and also rapid tests to do, how to control, how to to overcome the pandemic, in our country. We do expect, but it's still going on. We make some the protocol procedures for the overseas, tourists coming to our country, especially to Bali, and it could be, 1st of April, we start to open, but not. It's a very, permanently we start to open, could be, by trial.
So you will be opening to all over the world citizens, or just for some countries?
We start, to open, especially for domestic first, and after that, gradually, will be open, all over the world. We announce internationally that place, to be the destination of tourists, will be open, but could be started, next month, I think, 1st of April.
Construcția unei capitale noi este un proiect foarte ambițios al Indoneziei. Jakarta, actualul cel mai important oraș al țării, se scufundă cu rapiditate. Estimările sunt sumbre. Până în 2050, apa va cuceri complet megalopolisul indonezian. Președintele Joko Widodo a decis că viitoarea capitală să fie ridicată pe insula Borneo și a alocat pentru asta peste 32 de miliarde de dolari. Planurile spun că din anul 2024 ar trebui să se înceapă mutarea propriu-zisă, iar printre cele mai importante clădiri la care se lucrează deja este Palatul Prezidențial. China, Japonia și SUA s-au oferit să ajute Indonezia pentru ridicarea noii capitale.
Jakarta is the city that is sinking very fast. It's actually the fastest sinking city in the world, and this is an effect of the climate change. What are the plans of your country, not only just to move the capital from Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia, of course, but also to combat, to fight against these climate effects?
The policy of Indonesians now, first, just to reduce the people living in Jakarta, because we open, not only Jakarta to be the national economic center, We try also to put to Sumatra Islands, like Batam, and we also build the new city in Pulau Komodo Islands, and we also put the other economic center for the eastern part of Indonesia is Makassar. And the last, that it is a very strategic policy by our government to move our capital to the Kalimantan, East Kalimantan. This is the way how to reduce something like the very crowded inhabitant living in Jakarta. And the government of Jakarta now to mix how to overcome the flood that you mentioned is very fast sinking. It could be 50 or 100 years later will be totally.
Yes,
but
2050, something like that.
2050.
Yeah.
But we can imagine how to make Jakarta like Venezia in Italy.
It's not exactly the same, but is it easy for the people of Jakarta to be moved away from their city? I mean, how much does it cost, and what does this involve when it comes to the citizens and to the money that are being used in order to do all these movements?
I do realize that it's not easy to move, people where they feel, comfortable already in some place, but they are thinking because some of them are looking for a job, look, for the earning money. So they were traveling, not only to Jakarta. For example, now that the policy of our governments, put the very strategic, company like Indonesia, they move to other islands,
areas of the country.
Areas. This is the way how to make some solutions. To reduce the people living in Jakarta.
ASEAN înseamnă Asociația pentru Națiunile din Sud-Estul Asiei, adică 10 țări care lucrează între ele pe mai multe planuri, de la colaborări economice până la educație sau securitate și apărare. Aceste 10 state, alături de China, Japonia, Coreea de Sud, Australia și Noua Zeelandă, au construit ceea ce se anunță a fi cel mai puternic parteneriat economic din lume. Negocierile au durat 8 ani, dar restul lumii se uită deja cu mare atenție la cum se schimbă dinamica economiilor datorită acestui parteneriat.
Regional Comprehensive Economical Partnership is an agreement among the Asian states, Australia, New Zealand, and it's supposed to be a trade agreement that will change the world economics and will change the world politics. These negotiations was actually started by an Indonesian. Why is this agreement so important, and how will it shape the world?
As we understand that Indonesia is also, global players for the geopolitics, and we also the global player, for the international trading company, and we produce also a lot of something like natural and also the goods from Indonesia. So we understand because of the our geographic that we have a very strategic locations, according the international trading or according the international shippings of the goods all over the world. So that's the reasons that the location and Indonesia is to be the main player, especially in South China Sea or in Southeast Asian countries.
And how will it work? What are the expectations for Indonesia when it comes to this agreement, besides being the most important regional player?
We do understand also that we work together, with the main player of the world, like United States. We also, talk to the mainland China is also the most something like the economic, growth. We also, discuss, and we have, gradual meeting with the AU because they have also, the interesting, for that region.
Poziția geografică strategică a Indoneziei o transformă în ceea ce se numește stat pivotal. Ce înseamnă acest lucru? Că de viitorul unei astfel de țări depind regiuni întregi și chiar stabilitatea internațională. Indonezia este așezată în zona celor mai importante căi maritime din lume. Este o democrație, chiar dacă acum experții în domeniu spun că este în regresie și are a patra cea mai numeroasă populație de pe glob, majoritar musulmană. Toate aceste ingrediente fac din Indonezia un stat esențial care poate promova valorile democratice și stabilitatea într-o regiune unde China este dominantă.
Since you mentioned US and China, we look now at the new administration, the Biden administration, that already expressed its interest for the Southeast Asia. So that includes, of course, Indonesia, but also in the region there are a lot of interest when it comes to China. If ever your country is supposed to choose between those two superpowers, because United States is pretty clear on its relationship with China, what would be the position of Indonesia?
As stated in our constitutional law, Indonesia is the free and active country. So according that's constitutional, we cannot be close or to be a member of the bloc like USA blocs or mainland China bloc. But we also put the positions how to negotiate it, how to make some understanding between both countries like China and also America, how they can use that locations of the regions to be the very peace for their own interests. This is what we do always every time done by our foreign ministry, because they would call it to be understood that that place cannot be taken by one of them, even China, either America.
În 2015, președintele Indoneziei, Joko Widodo, a instituit o politică. Pescarilor străini prinși că pescuiesc în apele teritoriale indoneziene li se vor distruge vasele. China testează limitele apelor teritoriale ale tuturor statelor din Asia de Sud-Est, iar Indonezia este printre puținele țări care se lasă intimidate de chinezi.
But you did stood up against China when it comes to protecting your maritime interest in the South China Sea, and China has this habit of pushing countries in the region when it's taking care of its own interests. Was it the case with Indonesia as well?
We declare officially that our government declare what done by China is not legally, according by the international, agreement. And someday, where China what are done the illegal, fishings, close to our country, but our maritime, forces or our Coast Guard, push them out from our territory. So that is showing that Indonesia is to be the independent way how to protect, our territory.
But China doesn't have the habit of listening to its neighbors because it's a superpower. What do you expect?
Yes, that's the reasons that we bring China to the international, meeting, because it is already done by the international agreement that according UNCLOS they cannot do like that. Because even China is to be something like more independent, to say that this is our area according 9-dash line. But nobody would recall to support him internationally.
You did mention the position of Indonesia when it comes to the superpowers. How is Indonesia sees the rest of its neighbors in the region? Do you put your country as a leader in the region, or what is the plan for the Southeast Asia when it comes to working with the rest?
And as we understood that the Southeast Asian, solidarity is not like AU, is not like, united. The AU united, you have something like the agreement that it must be a bloc. But in our region, Southeast Asian country, we call it is not united. We call it is solidarity. So we respect every member of to be Southeast Asian, or we call ASEAN. So if we have a problems with their own, so we just give some advice or something like also the information how to overcome this one. But actually South Asians solidarity, they solve the problem with the neighborhoods country by meeting on the table. We never did to be something like the military power to solve
to
the
impose.
problem, to impose, for example. Even that you understand, or also internationally understand, they have also some block, but for example like Commonwealth between Australia, UK and Singapore. But in the Southeast Asian countries, we just give them, if you have the block power like that. So the most important thing, how to make the regions become peace, and we have solutions to solve the problem.
1 februarie 2021 a fost ziua în care Republica Myanmar a fost preluată printr-o lovitură de stat de armată. Militarii au înlăturat de la putere guvernul civil ales în mod democratic de cetățeni sub pretextul că alegerile au fost fraudate. De atunci, peste 140 de oameni au fost uciși de regimul nou instaurat, iar țara este cuprinsă de proteste care cer înlăturarea dictaturii militare. Un susținător vocal al guvernului democrat din Myanmar este Indonezia.
Indonesia is quite involved now into, let's say, underline the fact that Myanmar was taken over through a military coup. Why did you take position in this case? Because in Southeast Asia you are among the very few countries that actually has a very open position over Myanmar situation now.
We took the positions of Indonesia because it is the internal policy of one of the ASEAN country member. What we done already, that we give solutions by both positions leaders like military leader or also the civilian leader. We just put the notes for them to have the solutions by peace on the table. The most important thing for Indonesia, how to protect the people of Myanmar, because we understand that to protect people and to make peace is most important thing than how to be a winner in that positions. We do understand that the civilians in Myanmar could be supported by some bloc, and military is also supported by some bloc. So ASEAN just call the Myanmar to solve the problem on the table, could be negotiated.
You used a lot the word peace ambassador in this interview.
Yes, this is the main of our purpose in my constitutional.
What are the plans of your mission in Romania, and how are they till now?
In 1950, the Indonesians, from the Asian countries first opened the diplomatic relations to Romania, and since 1950 there is the Indonesian embassy in your country. So you can imagine, it's a very long player between two countries, in the international event. For example, that Indonesians used to support your country in the international organization. And also Romanian support to Indonesia to be, a member of the United Nations at that time, because we do understand that Romania is one of the European, Eastern European support the Indonesian independence. So that's the reason, since 1950 to 1970, we are very close. we import a lot of the technological, devices from your country, and also you import some, tobacco or coffee or chocolate. So that's my mission. My mission, how to wake up both countries, because I believe the new generations, they lack of the information regarding with the history between two countries. This is my main task, to make some understanding.
And is it working so far?
It's getting better. It's getting better. God willing, it's getting better, because some, the Romanian businessmen, they look, Indonesia already, and some Indonesians that they are looking for the Romanian because we have very strategic, harbor, Constanța. That's the reason that a couple, months ago, one of our Director General for the Indonesian harbor, came down to Constanța, and they signed the memorandum of understandings. So we start to work together, between the two countries.
Well, let's hope the program that we just recorded will help as well to develop these relations.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ambassador.
Cu plăcere.
Atât pentru astăzi, dar rămânem în continuare online pe pagina de Facebook a emisiunii și pe contul nostru de Twitter. Revenim cu subiecte noi din lumea diplomației și a politicii externe vinerea viitoare de la 11:30 și reluare sâmbătă de la 22:30. La revedere!